Hello everyone, welcome back to Design Schooling. In the series of getting started with an app or website, let's move on to the next part in which we will learn about the user research, which is an essential part of the design process. So let's get started. User research focuses on understanding user behaviors, needs, and motivations through various methodologies. This field of research aims at improving the usability of products, services, or the processes by incorporating research methods to guide the design, development, and refinement of a product. User research is interrelated in the field of design. The teams of designers and researchers must collaborate through their projects. The principles of the user research are as follows: to give the team the evidence to make the best decisions. Sometimes 5 to 7 users are enough to conduct the research. To watch what they do versus listening to what they say. To focus on goals and motivations over demographics. To involve everyone in the research. To represent users faithfully. To respect the privacy and integrity of the user. To conduct the best research we can in any given situation. Now, there are few misconceptions of user research, which are that it has an exact science. It will give us the concrete answers. It will say for sure that users will purchase, use, or love something. It is statistically significant. It is correct 100% of the time. And it can efficiently test minutiae. As UX designers, we should always remain mindful of the fact that our fundamental goal is to serve users' need, which is why we must carefully inspect the ways we choose to do so. User research methods are an important source of user data and actually a very exciting part of UX research. When doing the user study, it is very important to choose the right method in order to not waste your time and money on the information you already know or simply do not need. A wide range of research are available in the field of user research. To better understand when to use which method, it is helpful to view them along with a three-dimensional framework with the following dimensions: attitudinal versus behavioral, qualitative versus quantitative, and context of use. So let's understand the first dimension, which is the attitudinal versus behavioral dimension. This can be summed up by contrasting what people say versus what people do. The purpose of the attitudinal research is usually to understand or measure people's stated beliefs. The purpose of the behavioral research is to understand people's actions with the product or service in question. Next is the qualitative versus quantitative dimension. Studies that are qualitative in nature generate data about behaviors and attitudes based on observing them directly. In quantitative studies, the data about behavior or attitudes are gathered indirectly through measurement or instrument such as survey or analytical tool. Due to the nature of their differences, qualitative methods are much better suited for the answering questions about why or how to fix a problem, whereas quantitative methods do a much better job in answering how many types of questions. Next is the context of use dimension. This third distinction has to do with how and whether participants in the study are using the product or service in question. This is this can be described as natural or near natural use of the product, scripted use of the product, not using the product during the study, a hybrid of the above. Another important distinction to consider when making a choice among research methodologies is the phase of the product development and its associated objectives. The table below summarizes these goals. The product development phases, the first stage of the strategize, the goal is to inspire, explore, and choose new directions and opportunities. Here, the approach could be qualitative and quantitative, and the typical method to research could be field studies, dairy studies, surveys, etc. In second stage of execute, the goal is to inform and optimize design in order to reduce the risk and improve usability. The approach could be mainly qualitative. The typical method could be card sorting, field studies, paper prototype, etc. And the third stage of assesses, the goal is to measure product performance against itself or its competition. The approach is mainly quantitative. So the typical methods to test these could be usability benchmarking, online assessment, A B testing, surveys. Thus, in the conclusion, I would like to say that there are the dozen of user research methods, and each one of them has its advantages and disadvantages. So the choice really depends upon the type of the data you need to gather and the final goal of your research. Setting clear objectives and recruiting the right participant is key to the running a successful user study. So make sure deeply understand what issues you are trying to solve and who is the target audience of your product or service. So that's all for this video. I hope it was helpful. In the series of getting started with an app or website, stay tuned for the next video. And for more such content, do follow and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.